This is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks, where we review movies. Love them or hate them, someone's got to do it. So enjoy the show. Hi, I'm Sarah.
And I'm April.
And this is Two Chicks Talkin Flicks.
And anything else that gets in the mix.
So April.
Yes.
We're doing Emma.
And why is that?
So I guess you know what that means.
Dun dun dun!
It is our season 3.
Yay, it's our anniversary.
What? Who'd have thought?
Right?
So implausible. You know, every time I think, should we just give up? And then something will happen. I'm like, okay, I guess we'll keep going. So I want the people to let us know, what is their favorite Emma movie? It could be Clueless. It could be Emma from 2020. Or it could be Emma from 1996. Or it could be any of the other Emmas.
Yeah, there's a few TV versions of it as well.
So many. Mm-hmm. So let us know which is your favorite. Maybe next season we'll do that one.
Yes.
Because as tradition, we do an Emma movie.
Yeah. Until we run out of them.
Yeah, for every season opener. And I think...
You get it?
Okay, so it was a good idea when we thought of it.
Yeah. Because we had two very different versions to start with.
And now they're very similar.
Yeah, they're period pieces.
Yeah.
So,
but they're not even just period pieces. Like, it's literally the same story.
Yeah. Obviously, it's a long book and it's a 2-hour movie. So, you know, the writer, director picks and chooses, you know, the parts that they want to explore.
But it's like eerily similar to the newer one.
You can't change the main storyline.
No. But I feel like, well, you can though, because that's why the Clueless exists. So you can change it.
Yeah.
But it wasn't word for word, but it was like scene for scene.
Yeah.
Similar to the newest one. And obviously this one was first.
Yeah.
I actually read that they wanted to do this one as a modern tale, and the person who was writing it didn't realize that Clueless had happened the year before. And they were already like in the midst of doing this when Clueless came out. So they kind of had to scrap it and kind of start over.
Stick traditional.
And something that was really interesting, or that I figured out while we were watching it. So Alicia Silverstone, I don't know if you know this, but her parents are British.
No, I was not aware of that.
Or English, whatever. So
That's a huge difference, though.
Yeah.
Are they of English origin, or are they actually English
They're
born?
actually English.
Okay.
I think she was born there. I can't quite remember. Maybe one of her parents is American, but I know one of them for sure is English. And she actually had an English accent or British accent when she was a kid. And I was like...
That's so hard to believe. Like, as if.
And so, like, all I could think is, I wonder if she just waited one more year. Could she have been this part? But I was like, I don't see her.
No, I don't think so. No.
I don't see her as a, but hell, she could have used her English accent. Because at first I was like, Gwyneth.
What?
No.
Oh, because you don't like her?
No, it wasn't that. Actually, okay, so as a kid, wasn't a fan of Gwyneth Paltrow. But watching her in stuff like recently, I don't hate her.
What?
Like, I really liked her on Glee. She was on Glee for a few episodes. And then me and my sister watch HGTV, and they had an episode of Property Brothers, and she was on it. And I was like, she's actually pretty cool. She didn't bother me at all. So, you know, she is weird though. But yeah, she didn't bother me. Like she did in the past.
Okay.
But her accent, at first I was just like, no.
Really?
No. Like,
I thought she did quite well with her accent.
So it sounded very similar to, what's her face? Renee Zellweger from Diary.
Bridget Jones's
Thank
Diary.
you. Bridget Jones' Diary. It sounded like she was trying to do that accent to me. So it is close because I think Renee like nailed it. Because I was like, I thought she was American when I saw Bridget Jones, but obviously she is. So, but I felt like she was trying to impersonate it too much. She needed to have like a better dialect coach, I think.
I thought it was quite fine.
It bothered me. At the very beginning, it bothered me. I got kind of used to it at the end, but at the beginning, it bothered me.
So I actually saw this movie way back when it came out.
Never did.
And I honestly, like, obviously I know the story, but if I had to review it from my memory, I couldn't.
Yeah.
It's just a blank slate in that sense. So.
Well, if you think of the newest one and then just put Gwyneth Paltrow in instead, you pretty much can remember what this one was.
I can say that I definitely like the 2020 version better.
Yeah.
Except for her hair. I hated that.
Yeah.
That tiny, tight curls.
Yeah.
Gwyneth had better hair because it's her hair.
Yes. And also, I am shocked I'm about to say this, but I liked Gwyneth as Emma better than her as Emma. And the girl, like, I don't want to talk about people's looks, but her eyes bugged me.
I loved the 2020 tie. Harriet.
Oh, yes.
She seemed she looked believable as ditzy and would just follow Emma's lead. Like, I believed that.
Yes.
Better.
Agreed. Maybe it's because we've seen Harriet in other stuff and she's always kind of like more in charge, more assertive. Maybe Toni Collodi.
I mean, obviously this movie is over 20 years old, right? So she's obviously younger.
Yeah.
But I guess she seems old to me for the character because I guess I have seen her in other things.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and also Gwyneth Paltrow looks so young.
She did. Like I never really thought of her as beautiful. Like, yeah, she's pretty, but like she looked really pretty in this. You know, and she still looks great.
That bitch. No, she does. She looks great.
But there were moments in the film where she didn't even look like her.
Yeah. We it's so weird that you brought that up while we were watching it because I was like, she looks weird there. And then you both said the same thing. And I was just like, wow, how did we all think that it's mind meld? Because we all thought the exact same thing.
Like, it's not that she had baby fat on her face, but she seemed... She was young.
Yeah.
Obviously, she was young.
Very fresh-faced.
Yes.
And her eyebrows. I think that's why I thought that at that scene. I was like, what is with her eyebrows? And then you guys said something about her not looking like herself.
Yeah.
And that's what I was thinking. I was like, something with her eyebrows is different.
Yeah. And I could definitely say that, like, anytime I looked at her, I would always look at her neck.
Yes,
you know?
She has a very long neck.
Yeah, I loved it. Very swan-like, graceful. Like, I mean, she has a great neck.
You know what's really weird is that I didn't like her growing up, but I love her mom.
I know who her mom is. Well, I'm indifferent to her.
Like, she played Will's mom on Will and Grace, and I loved her. She's hilarious to me. I just love her character, and I've liked her in a lot of other stuff. And so then we have her, and I'm just like, meh. But like, her mom looks to me, and I don't know their background, so maybe they did or didn't. But her mom seems to me that she would have been a ballerina. And when you have a neck that long, it's almost criminal not to be a ballerina. So it's very surprising she's not one. Instead, she's an actress. So, because like
she was a ballerina as a kid. Yeah,
because she looks like a ballerina. She holds herself like a ballerina, and that's all I could think the whole time seeing her in this movie with her such a long neck, very swan-like.
Yeah, I will say I prefer the outfits better in the 2020 version. They were more realistic.
Yeah.
Like the cloth and some scenes especially, they seemed more like thicker, warmer, more realistic, more vibrant. Whereas in this, what is it, 2007, 2006? Oh, sorry.
1996.
1996 version, it seems very whimsical and romantic.
Yeah. It actually reminds me of all the dresses that Lady something or another in Bridgerton wears. Daphne?
Okay. Yeah.
Like all those dresses, every time I saw one, I was like, that's what Daphne wears.
Well, because this is a Regency period.
Yeah.
It was during the Regency period happened during the Napoleonic Wars. So that's when they were, that fashion came after the French Revolution when they kind of all revolted around, you know.
But I feel like not everybody else was wearing those same kind of dresses. Like they weren't cut the same way, but the two of them wear the very almost exactly the same dresses, like with that bodice, high bodice,
Yeah.
kind of frilly sleeve, like it's cut almost exactly the same. But I don't feel like anybody else in the movie really wore that kind.
As with everything, there are many different fashions happening at the same time. That's just their focal point, you know? So, yeah.
So, and you know, we forgot to tell them what it's about, but I think if you've listened to any of our episodes, you'd kind of know, but we'll go over it. So
Mini
basically,
synopsis.
we have Emma. She is carefree and loves to like get people together, and her governess gets married, and so now she needs a new project. Well, luckily Harriet comes on the scene. She befriends her, tries to hook her up with several suitors, and one by one the suitors pair off with other people, and then she realizes that the guy that's always been there, Mr. Knightley, is her man.
Yeah.
And then they get together, they get married, and happily ever after.
So I will say, I did not realize the age discrepancy.
Yes, that was shocking.
I always felt that they were childhood friends.
Yeah.
Like they grew up playing together. Obviously, he's older by a handful of years.
Yeah.
No more than 5-year tops.
Right.
You know, but they were, you know, playmates as kids.
Yeah.
Especially since, at least in the 2020 version, they were neighbors.
Yeah,
you know?
and I thought they were like less than 10 years, at least, less than 10. This is 16-year difference.
It's like, dude, you were away to like school, you know, when she was born. Like that kid would not be on the radar. I'm sorry.
No,
like
and if she was, okay, Jacob from Twilight, like get out of here.
Okay, that's different.
He imprinted on her. It's a fine.
Okay, but first of all, you have to think of like soulmates. That's like different. Okay, it's different.
Her name is stupid and I can't get over it.
Renesmee.
Oh, God.
Nessie, you named my daughter after the Loch Ness Monster? I know.
So
It's so
awful.
bad.
And you know what's even worse is when you can't pronounce the name while you're reading it. So you're like, what? What? That's what happened to me.
Yeah. When I can't read something, my mind absorbs letters and creates a word and adds letters.
Yeah.
And just that's who you are or that's what the word is until I hear otherwise.
Exactly.
And sometimes it's like, no.
So it was actually fine with me when they named her Nessie because I was like, oh, okay, I can
Better.
read that. But still stupid ass name. I digress. So in this movie, we have Mr. Elton.
Yeah.
And much like in Clueless, he is the most eligible bachelor for whatever reason. I wouldn't want him.
No.
And I wouldn't want my friend to be with him.
No.
Nothing about him would make me want to hook him up with anybody.
Well, you have to remember Harriet's station in life.
Yeah.
You know, that was a thing back then. So this would be a step up for her.
But
So,
it'd be a step down for him.
yeah. But he's also a vicar, you know? So like it shouldn't, in his case, be taboo.
Yeah.
So here's what I think is happening in his family. Obviously, you have, you know, your main son that's going to get everything, and then you have your second born, or maybe a third born. And the second and third born, if they don't marry well, they go to the church or they join the army, you know? So that's pretty much what I think happened to him. So he at least comes from a reputable family.
Yeah.
So that's why he went to the church. So he may have some money, but obviously for him, his position gives him a
Better crop.
Yeah.
Of girls.
So, but I mean, I think it would show, like, he was kind of stuck up, you know, like he just was. If anybody could, you know, marry outside of their station, you would think it would be like the priest or the vicar.
Right.
So,
Now I cannot for the life of me remember what the guy was like in the last Emma, the Elton of last one.
he was so dorky. Oh my gosh.
Oh yeah. Okay.
He was Prince Charles in The Crown.
Yeah. Which is your favorite or worst?
I love to hate the 2020 Elton.
Okay. So I think my favorite and my worst is Elton from Clueless.
Oh.
You know, because he's charming and attractive, but also a dick.
See, for me, when I think of Emma, I don't think of Clueless. Like I'm comparing apples to apples, not apples to oranges. So as we discuss these, I'm comparing 2020 version to 96 version. Clueless is just not on the radar because I feel like it's a retelling.
Yeah.
You know? So.
Well, unfortunately, my brain doesn't work that way because that's the first one I knew. So all these other ones are side chicks, and I'm with my main squeeze.
Well, I think I saw Clueless first as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's the one that resonates with me the most.
Yeah.
But that's not what I think of when I think of Emma. You know?
Now, but including Clueless, which is your favorite Mr. Knightley? Is it Paul Rudd?
Okay.
If I had to, okay.
So I just like Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
But I like the 2020 version better. But the 96 version is cuter.
Okay, so if I had to put it in order of which ones I think were cuter, definitely Paul Rudd's number one.
Exactly.
And then this guy. And then the
in the order they were made.
Yeah. But if I had to pick which one was the better Knightley, it's a toss-up between 2020 and the 1996. And
They did more.
I feel like the 1996 one, he is like Colin Firth. And I can't not associate him with him. And so he might have to be the best one, even though I love Paul Rudd.
You know what? I think you're right. Because 2020 version seemed more aloof.
Yeah.
You know, like you could, like if you were Emma, you would be blindsided.
Yeah.
You would have never known and seen it. But with the 96 version, if you think back on it, you'd be like, okay, there were clues there that he liked me.
So I put in my notes, he's like a damn magnet. Everywhere she is, he finds some way to be there and to be next to her. He always finds her in a crowd. And they like just attract each other. And she doesn't know she's doing it, but she is.
Yeah.
And this one, I feel like even in Clueless, you don't know how Josh really, really feels about Cher.
It's kind of surprising at the end.
It's alluded when she tries to go to the dance, and he's like, "Are you gonna wear that? Are you gonna let her out?" Like,
but you could see that as a big brother.
Yeah, it could be big brother, except for kind of how he looks at her. But you don't really know for sure. Yeah, this guy, he's like, yeah, no, we are not brother and sister. Like,
so you know what's interesting is that when I was telling my coworker what movie we were doing this week, and she's like, "Oh, I've never seen Clueless. What is it about?" I gave her the worst description ever.
Oh, no.
Well, because when you think about it, it's like, yeah, and then she falls in love with her stepbrother, and she gave me these eyes, and I'm like, well, okay, you have to understand that her dad like has had 10 wives, okay, and like they didn't grow up together, like, and I did not do Clueless just like. There is no way you could explain Clueless love story between Cher and Paul Rudd in a not icky way.
Yes, huh?
Okay, go for it.
So it's
catch the people up.
It's about a girl named Cher who doesn't like any of the boys that she goes to school with because they're boys, and she's looking for someone older, more sophisticated, more on her level. And turns out that the boy who is all of these things is always at her house, and they are meant to be together, and then they end up together at the end.
So why is he always at her house?
Well, you know, that's not what they're going to ask me.
But I'm asking you, how did they meet?
He's her ex-stepbrother.
What? Stepbrother? Because that's all they're going to hear.
2 years. They're not related. It's not blood related. At least they're not 16 years apart where he was in love with her as a child. I mean, we don't know that, but yeah, kind of had that inkling that maybe he was. I
feel like here's the thing, right? Hopefully he never really noticed her until she became like a teenager. But like, just think about it. Like, it's a teenage girl who's like giggling and like, you know, you were a teenage girl. Yes. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I would not be interested in me as a teenage girl.
Rude.
I wouldn't.
It's called self-love, April.
No, jeez. Like, oh my gosh, so ditzy.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah, no, it's not a good look. And now, to his credit, to Mr. Knightley's credit, back in the day when this is set, it was not uncommon for young girls to be wedded at a very young age. So, with that in mind, her being like 12 and him being, I can't do math, in his 20s, not so surprising.
So 12, 22, 20, 29.
Okay, that's really bad. Because he's 38 when she's 22.
He would be 29. Again, he would be having dinner, you know, and she may not even be at the dinner table. Well, if it's all family, she might be at the dinner table. But if it was a dinner party, she wouldn't even be allowed at the table.
You know, it's weird that I have less problem with her being so young and him being older. But if those tables were turned, I'd be like, that is disgusting. That woman needs to be locked up and committed.
Also think about it though. He's 38 and not married. Yeah. Like,
well, that's because he's in love with her.
But when did he fall in love with her?
Well, she's 22.
Okay. Let's say he fell in love with her at least 5 years ago. That would make her 17, and that would make him, what, 33?
Oh, that's still bad.
You know? Okay, let's say that's when he first started, like, really considering her. Yeah. She's a kid. It may take him another 2 years to figure out that it's actually love. Yeah. Now, how old is he? 35? You know,
Bad look.
like
I kind of wish
I wish they were at least within a 5-year gap.
Yeah, that would make it a lot better.
Yes.
I also kind of wish we would get more of his backstory.
Yeah.
Like, at least the one before, we kind of understood what happened and why he might still be single at that age. And then Josh, he's just a couple years older.
Yeah. Like, here's the thing.
But she is 16 and he's in college, and that's just
Now, we don't know how far into college
he's
he
at
is.
least 21.
Oh, yeah. At least 21.
So,
That's 5 years, though. That's within the 5-year window.
Yeah.
Here's my problem about the age as well. If they didn't grow up with each other, then it would be different because you're now seeing her only as a woman.
Yeah.
But you saw her you saw her grow up.
Yeah.
That's what makes it worse.
Okay, so she has an older sister.
Who married his brother?
So maybe they were closer. So maybe it was kind of like a thing where, she just was always kind of there and he cared for her as a big brother.
Ew, that makes it worse. No.
Oh, I'm so uncomfortable.
It is. I wish
Wish they'd never told us the
they
age
should have.
difference.
They could have told us her age. They didn't have
Yeah.
to tell us his age.
Or they could have just fudged the numbers and be like, oh.
They let us just make our assumptions.
Yeah. Because he didn't even look that much older.
Not 38.
No. Hey. Some of us in this room are 38. Some of us
But
are
you're
older.
not interested in a 22-year-old.
You don't know my life.
I mean, I guess they're legal, so so go for it.
Like if I just met them now, it's
yeah, exactly. But you didn't see them grow up. Oh no.
I didn't. That'd be weird if I did.
Oh gosh.
I don't know why my voice sounds like that. This has gotten off the rails. Let's see her. Oh, okay. So her friend Harriet.
Yes.
When we first meet her, she's telling Emma about this guy,
Martin.
Mr. Martin.
The farmer.
Yeah. And she's like, no. No friend of mine is going to be dating this farmer character.
Even though she's a girl with no background.
Right.
I liked the 2020 version where she was an orphan.
Yeah. And then we found out she actually had a dad of some prestige.
No, that's always the assumption.
Oh. I
Yeah.
thought we did find that out.
Yeah. Well, back then, if you had a kid out of wedlock, maybe if one of the parents had money, they would send you off.
Yeah.
So that's the whole mystery, is like maybe you are a lady and you don't know it, or you come from money or class or something. So
Interesting.
still, she's like out of wedlock though.
Yeah. So they're going to meet. They see Mr. Martin and she says, oh, how do I look? And she goes, good enough for Martin. Rude, Emma. Rude. That's the first time that she was like saucy and not nice to her friend. Like, I feel like in Clueless, Cher is not like a dick to people. She's not mean. She doesn't say any mean stuff or
True.
or harsh things to people. But these two Emmas are very just like, yeah, you're good enough for him, I guess. Like,
It's a different. It's truer to the book.
yeah.
So.
Well, I don't like that Emma sometimes. And then she says something else later to poor Mrs. Bates.
Oh.
Though I gotta tell you, Mrs. Bates is annoying. I much preferred the Mrs. Bates in the 2020.
Because you're partial to Miranda.
Well, yeah, but she also wasn't annoying. I feel like this one was very annoying.
So the 96 version. seems more, she's not aware of what she's doing.
Yeah.
Whereas the 2020 version, she can't help it. She's just so happy, so excited to be included.
Yes.
Like she's more likable.
Yeah.
I can see her having the friendship with Emma.
Yeah.
You know, like Emma is her friend, but she gets on her nerves, you know, whereas the 96 version, I don't really see a real, I don't see it.
Me neither.
Like it's definitely charity,
Yes.
you know, whereas with the 2020 version, you know, it's like, oh my gosh, I can only take so much of this woman, you know?
Agreed. Like it kind of reminds me of Titanic with Kathy Bates and how she's new money.
Yeah.
And they kind of just put up with her.
Yeah.
Even though they don't believe in like new money wealth.
But you know, they sit there for all her stories.
Oh, right. She's very entertaining.
And then later they're like, can you believe what she said or what she did? So she's more of an entertainment.
Yeah.
So
But this lady is not.
she is a bore. She really is dull.
Whole story about the letter.
Oh, it's like a going gag that isn't gaggy.
Yeah.
It just makes you gag.
Yes. She's like, oh my God, can you believe it? She sent her letter on Thursday. And I said, her letters don't come on Thursday, but it came on Thursday. Can you believe it? Because the letters aren't supposed to come on Thursday.
It made me want to write letters though. I did buy some stamps. They have the giving tree stamps and I bought some.
You know what? I got one of those the other day at work.
So I might send you a letter.
Ooh.
I have so many cards that my grandmother gave me.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay. So Elton asks Emma to paint a portrait
Yeah.
of Harriet.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Which is very confusing in every single movie.
Except for Clueless. And the only reason why it's not so weird is because they already have a camera and they're taking group photos together. And then she just takes her aside, takes a picture, and then he says, can I have one?
Yeah, that's true.
That part's kind of weird because it alludes to him wanting a picture of
All of them.
her.
Oh.
But he says later on that it's because she took the photo. Now, wouldn't you want the group photo that she was in because she's in it?
I guess in that sense, they tried to like tie it in with Emma, but it just makes better sense. So like, I want a picture. Obviously, I'm going to take this group picture of us because you're in it.
Yeah.
So,
but this whole painting picture, just kind of weird.
I will say I like the 2020 painting better.
Yes, it was
and
better.
the beautiful frame because he went so over the top with it and it was so gorgeous. Like that's a TikTok frame.
Yeah,
you know?
didn't it like
it opened
musical and or
like it opened. It was like a little. I loved it.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Yeah.
This one was a little bit more janky.
It was more authentic.
Yeah.
You know.
It was more like, hey, we already have a frame of grandma's. Let's just put this picture in it.
But the 2020 version, like he went over the top with that.
Yeah. And then who in their right mind? Let's just say, let's see, or who do I like? Let's just say that Nick Carter from the Backstreet Boys. I like him.
Okay.
And he writes a letter and he sends it to you. And then I'm over at your place. And then you're like, oh my God, look, Nick Carter wrote you a letter. Why would you think that?
So, okay, first of all, you're the one who told Nick Carter to write a riddle for my quote book. So it only makes sense for him to give you that letter since you're the one who requested it on my behalf.
Okay.
So in that sense, you know, like from your perspective, you're like, oh, maybe he's too shy to give it to me directly since you're the one who asked for it on my behalf. So in that sense, you can see that.
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
I never have understood. So Harriet has a quote book?
Yeah. Or a riddle book.
A riddle book.
Yeah. And that's why the courtship.
Oh, and she asks for him to write a riddle.
Yeah. For her riddle book.
But why did he send it to Emma?
Because Emma was the one who told him, hey, will you submit one, basically. She's the one who requested it on Harriet's behalf.
Did he know it was for Harriet?
Yeah. Harriet is composing a riddle book. Would you like to give a submission? And he's like, oh, I'm not funny. I'm not witty. He's like, oh, I'm sure you could think of something. You're so funny. You're so witty.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
But still, it's for Harriet. You would think he would send it to Harriet.
Not if he's shy. Okay. I mean, you're looking for an explanation. I'm giving you one.
I guess. I don't like it, but I guess.
Yeah. You don't have to like it.
Because we know he's not shy. Like,
oh my gosh. I will say that when he confessed his love, he is sure as hell trying a lot harder in 96 version. Yeah. But he is so much more forward in 2000 version. Like, he made a complete ass of himself in 2020.
Yes.
But he wasn't giving up in 96.
No. And then we have Elton from Clueless. That's kind of in the middle. Like, he was very aggressive, but also was kind of like, fuck this, I'm mobile. And just like left. Yeah. Okay.
He was like, I shot my shot.
Yeah. I don't understand how she keeps getting accosted on Christmas. I know it's the same story, but geesh. Christmas and her are just, she should not ride. Don't ride in cars with boys. Drew Barrymore has a movie about that.
I've never actually seen that.
And you should just not do it because
clearly. But the boys are the ones with the cars.
Yeah.
I mean, back in the day. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ladies, always take your own car. It's just safer.
Or in my case, don't wreck your car.
Don't Uber. Don't get in cars with boys. Go with your friends or go alone. It's not safe out there. Mm-hmm. You never know what kind of Mr. Elton is going to accost you. At least this time she wasn't left on the side of the road. But then we didn't have Mr. Knightley come and save her.
Well, what's so funny is that in Clueless, she got left.
Yes.
In 2020, he got out.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
He got out because he was so embarrassed. And then in this one, they just had to sit there and bear through
in their own corners. I just like how she kept moving and he kept going.
Following her. Yeah, very persistent. Like, dude, let it go. I will say this film was very dark.
Yes.
Like, dude, light some candles or some shit.
Right?
You know?
Yeah, it was hard to see at points.
It wasn't hard to see. It was just, you spent all this money on this set and these outfits, and I can't see it properly.
Right.
You know, because you were too cheap to get candles or something.
Let's see here.
I will say that I'm surprised that this movie only made $22 million in the box office.
Yeah.
You know, it cost $7 million. Reasonable, but it only made 22 million.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I wonder how much the 2020 version did. Well, it came out during the pandemic.
Hey, April, let's take a break and we'll be right back. We're all in this together. We might as well have some fun. Please join our friends over at the Copeland Effect, a funny retail podcast hosted by Meredith and Cassandra, two very fun and hardworking retail workers. They talk about customer relations, customer service tasks, deli stores, bakery goofs, stores on fire, parking lot wars, and so much more. They also have an amazing lineup of guests, business owners, local shops, and of course, retail workers. They're celebrating 45 countries listening and over 10,000 downloads. So go have some fun and listen to The Copeland Effect. New episodes every Friday. And we're back. That's funny. I put the wrong thing.
Dun,
I
dun,
said
dun.
Mr. Elton proposed. I didn't mean that. I meant Mr. Martin proposed. And she said that the nuns must have helped him write it, the letter. And I was like,
no, his sister. Oh.
I was like, dude, you're a bitch. Like, can't you just be happy for your friend? Like, why do you got to poo her man? Who she ends up with anyways. Awkward.
Dude, apparently there was a TV show. Oh, that's probably a document of whatever in 1996. Yeah, 107 minutes. So there's another one that we need to watch.
Let's see here.
Yeah. So you know what? The 2020 version cost 10 million and it came in at 26 million.
Yeah.
So
these just aren't popular.
The same people that are watching it.
Look up Clueless because now I'm interested.
Okay. I will say though, that movie came out during the pandemic.
Yeah, true.
Because we rented it.
So Mr. Elton, they went to go look and play with these dogs, these Cocker Spaniels who look like my dead dog Maverick. And I was really happy. Mm-hmm. She goes, and his eyes are brown too, just like Mr. Elton. After he broke her heart.
So Clueless cost 12 million and it got 56 million.
So it reigned supreme. Got it. As it should. But, you know, it's a teeny movie. So teeny boppers went to go see that. So Jane Fairfax.
Yes.
And Mr. Knightley.
I just don't get, other than taking off that one guy off the market, like, I don't really care for her character.
No.
Like, she is just a blip. She doesn't even matter. We don't even need her to take away the whatever dude away from the storyline. Like, his aunt could have just died and he just left.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't need Jane Fairfax at all.
And I will have to say, in 2020 version, I liked the character more, the Jane Fairfax character.
Yeah. In the 2020 version, she seemed more...
and their rivalry was better.
Well, that and like I felt more for her. Like just imagine, like I don't know, she's like this orphan, you know, poor girl that has a family that, you know, is of better means, and she falls in love with this gentleman, you know. But for all she knows, he could be stringing her along.
Yeah.
You know, like she doesn't know if this is real.
Yeah.
You know?
And who is Mr. Dixon? Did we ever meet?
No, I think he's just a friend that introduced him.
Because, in the last movie, they talk about him too. And I'm like, who the hell is Mr. Dixon?
He's not important to the storyline.
Well, he's important enough that they bring him up a lot.
Well, he's in the story.
And why is Mr. Churchill always talking about him? I guess because they're friends and that's how... He's keeping the secret.
I mean,
for
do
him.
you not talk about me all the time?
I do. I talk about you a lot. Do you talk about me?
No.
Oh, well.
Never mention you.
I didn't think so. So we find out that Gwyneth Paltrow can sing. Mm-hmm. And I to be fair, I liked her singing better in Glee than in this movie.
I haven't seen those episodes.
It's actually really fun. She plays a Spanish teacher. And
that's funny.
She does all this dancing and stuff. It's actually pretty funny. Or no, she plays a substitute teacher. So she does all the different classes. That's why they keep having her come back.
Okay.
Because she's a different
recurring character.
Yeah. But it's actually very entertaining. But then... So she is playing her song, and Mr. Churchill comes up and sings with her, also known as...
Ewan McGregor. Kenobi Daddy.
And he's wearing the world's worst wig.
Oh, he is so gorgeous. Yeah. And what they did to him in this movie is a crime. A crime.
And what's really funny is that the first time we see him, it's not that bad. But it gets worse. It feels like it gets shorter and more raggedy. And
when he finished his scenes, he threw that wig off and threw it on the floor.
He actually said that he hated that wig and he hates his character in that movie. And he decided to never do those kind of movies ever again after watching himself in this movie.
That is so unfortunate because I would give anything to see him in a period piece. Yeah. There's always just something with the hair they can never get right in any of these movies.
I just don't understand why he wasn't Mr. Knightley, because he seems Mr. Knightley to me.
Maybe he was starting off and the other dude had more creds.
Well, I looked him up and I was like, I don't recognize a single thing this guy has been in.
Maybe he fucked the producer.
Harvey Weinstein was the
I mean, they always say you don't sleep with the director, you sleep with the producer.
Right.
Okay. You gotta know where you gotta follow the money.
Uh-huh.
So FYI, Sarah, when we get into the biz, we're gonna sleep with the producer, not with the director.
I did buy the Mega Millions today.
Man, I bought one like 3 weeks ago. I could be a thousandaire right now.
Right? But you didn't.
I know. I'll check it one of these days. Like, dude, I haven't even put my credit cards on my phone yet. You know, like where you just pay where you tap. And I've had this phone since February.
Wow.
But like, it's just such a chore.
It is. So while she's singing with Mr. Churchill, we see our pal, Mr. Knightley, and he is jealous.
Yes, he is.
So jealous.
I love it. I'm here for it.
Like he's so excited when she's singing, and then as soon as that man comes out of nowhere and starts singing with her,
like who the hell does he think he is?
He's like, this motherfucker.
Like he's been gone for like 10, 20 years. Yeah. Okay, and he just shows up and tries to steal everybody's heart.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, we should watch like a super jealous movie.
Ooh. Wonder what that would be.
We should look it up, find out.
Mm-hmm. And then we have when Jane Fairfax goes up there to sing her part because she has to show off. And of course,
obviously she can sing better.
Yeah.
But I like the 2020 version where Emma couldn't really play that well.
Yeah.
So you could really see the difference in the 2020 version. Yeah. Whereas in this 96 version, it just sounds like she can sing better, but they probably play on par. And that's just to my musical ear because I don't know how difficult of a song they're playing. They sounded the same to me.
Right? I thought it was the same song too.
I mean,
but then as Jane is up there singing, Mr. Knightley comes and sits down, of course, because he's magnetically drawn to Emma. He comes and talks to her. And I kind of like how they just are like two bitchy gossip queens. And they're just always like talking about people.
Yeah, that would make sense if they grew up together as kids. Okay.
Right.
If they had that relationship, it would make sense. I mean, I guess, you could gossip with kids, but like, it's not the same.
No.
No.
I wish
like I can't
didn't know that fact.
I've never had a heart-to-heart with a kid,
Nope. Yeah,
No, never had a heart-to-heart with a kid.
Yeah.
Or gossiped with them.
I've been outschooled by a child. One time I was babysitting my friend's kid and he was playing Nirvana on his guitar. Now, mind you, he was like 3 or 4.
Oh.
And he was playing a guitar and singing Nirvana. And I sang what I thought was the next chorus. And he was like, no, that's wrong. It's actually this. And I was like,
that's fine. That's his whole world. He doesn't have a life. Okay.
Like, this toddler just schooled me on Nirvana. And I grew up listening to Nirvana. He's never heard of them except for from his parents.
You know what's so interesting is that like, I think I was in my 20s, like 26 or something. And that's back, like all my little MySpace friends were like high school kids because we would role play together. Yeah. But,
not the way you're thinking.
Like online, like games. like games.
Video games.
Yeah. Comic book games and stuff. But I remember one of them, when he discovered Nirvana and started telling me about all the conspiracy theories and he was like so like into it and telling me all this. And I was just like, damn, I've already lived through this.
Yeah.
You know, I already know all these conspiracy theories. So I was just like, I didn't want to burst his bubble of new discovery.
Yeah.
So I just sat there and commented, you know.
Actually, speaking of, I have been listening to this other podcast called True Crime and Cocktails. And they have been doing celebrity deaths, and they did Kurt Cobain. And I learned stuff I don't think I ever knew before. So I was like, oh, well, all right. That's pretty cool. I mean, to be fair, when he died, it was what, 96? I think.
Earlier than that. I thought it was like 95. Let's look it up.
1 year.
Hey, that 1 year makes a difference. Like, I feel like he was dead by the time I got to high school. Right?
Yeah, I don't know. What I was going to say is I was either in like 5th or 6th grade.
94, yeah.
94?
Yeah, he was dead by the time I got to high school.
Okay, so I was like 4th or 5th grade.
Yeah, because I started high school in 94, 95.
Just dated yourself.
Like I didn't date myself last week when I said I was 40.
The cat's out of the bag.
I'm 40 going on what, 29?
Yeah. Age is a state of mind, except for when you're 16 years old.
You're only as old as the man that you're feeling. So I just need to get me a young man.
There you go.
I'm feeling 25.
I'm feeling hot. So there was 3 random fish bowls. And we couldn't decide why. Okay, first of all, they're just sitting around very awkwardly, and I don't feel like any of them were really facing each other.
Well, for the camera, yeah.
Well, they were like sitting in a circle, and they were all just like oddly placed. And then there's these 3 fish bowls just kind of like hanging out in the background. It was very strange.
So okay.
If they were,
you know how you go outside and you walk your dog?
Yeah.
Maybe they take their fish out for their daily sunlight.
like if they were feeding them, that would have made sense to me.
No,
like,
it still wouldn't have made sense.
It would have at least addressed why the fish were there. But now we just have 3 fish bowls for no reason. I have lots of fish bowl money. That's what they have. And it's like, that's ridiculous.
Yeah. There was another scene where it felt like it was fall because of all of the apples, right?
Right.
And then
it was because it was right before Christmas.
And then there was a part where I guess they were having some kind of harvest festival because they were decorating. And you know how you have the popcorn chains for Christmas?
Yes.
They had an apple chain. And I was just like,
that's a lot of fucking apples.
Well, forget that part. How strong is this string?
Right?
It couldn't have been string. It had to have been wire.
Yeah.
You know, and why would you waste perfectly good wire to make a string of heavy ass apples?
Also, how did they get it through the apples?
A giant ass nail?
Yeah, they had to have like
hammered it through?
Yeah, like slightly tapped a nail through the apple to get it started.
It made no sense.
That's a long process.
Yeah, it would have just been better if they had sticks and spiked apples with them.
Yeah.
It would have been simple and you would have got the idea. This is apple centerpieces for the table.
Or like just put leaves, just string of leaves.
Yeah, that would have been better.
Or berries, something that's small, kind of like a popcorn. I like that we both picked that out because I was like, what is with the apples?
I just kept looking at that and I'm like.
Also was very impressed.
I was like, it can't be string. It has to be wire because it's too heavy.
I mean, is a movie good when that's what you're thinking about?
Obviously, that scene was not. You know what other scene drove me crazy?
What?
is when poor Emma's trying to listen to that dude's story. And what's his name? Elton?
Yeah.
Keeps like fucking bothering her. And she is so nice and so sweet. Yeah. And I would have gone off on him. Right? Be like, do you mind? I am busy. Okay.
I am talking to somebody.
I am actively listening. Okay. And the poor girl missed the whole story.
Right?
Oh, I feel so bad for her. I would have just been like, you know what? I do need a blanket. I am cold. And I want the blanket that's at my house. Can you go get it? And just like packed it. Just go away. Just go away.
I do like that when he gets married, he comes back and he's with Mrs. Elton. And plot twist, she's the narrator.
Yeah.
Of this story. I was like, what? Plot twist.
I mean, you can see it because she's a total gossip.
Oh, yeah.
And she would stay on point in her stories, unlike Mrs. Bates.
Yeah, but she had some awkward ass things she would say because everybody would be like,
I wouldn't say that about myself, but my friends would.
Yeah. So many times. Like, I'm a great singer, but I wouldn't say that, but my friends would say that.
I'm going to start saying that. I wouldn't say I'm a great cook, but my friends would say that.
Exactly.
They'd be like, what friends?
I would not.
Clearly you have no friends.
Hey, you make that rice stuff that I love.
Yes. And you know the last time I made rice?
A long time ago.
At least a year. Maybe. Hell, I can't remember.
I am really saddened that they didn't do one scene. I was waiting for this scene. I felt it. I felt it coming. When they were dancing.
Oh, yes.
There's in every movie
where they go
this.
like this.
Yes. Yes. I call it the arm dancing.
Where they put their palms and forearms together and they look at each other's eyes as they turn into a circle.
Or when they do back to back, or when they have them interlocked. Either way, that is always the time, and the it slows down. The background gets hazy. That's when you know that they love each other.
And you know what's so interesting? And when you were looking for that scene, I knew exactly the scene that you were talking about. Right? You're like, oh my gosh, they're gonna do it. They're gonna do the falling in love scene dance. And I was like, oh, I know exactly what you're talking about.
And they didn't do it.
I'm so sorry for you.
I know. They did hand holding. That didn't do anything.
No.
How are they supposed to fall in love when they're dancing?
In this movie, they didn't have that moment when at least one of them realized it in front of the other one.
Yeah. Because they did in the 2020 version.
Yeah. In this one, it was more of Bridgerton. In this version, Gwyneth Paltrow's character just all of a sudden realized that she liked him.
Yeah, it was like when she was talking to her maid. Her old friend.
Yeah, she realized that she's like, he's been here all along. I love him.
My best or my favorite way is when Cher does it by the water fountain. Her realization that she's in love with him. I feel it's done better than the other two, but
I am still surprised that she's in love with Josh, though.
Really?
Yes.
You don't see the montage of clips where she's like, oh my God, I am in love with Josh.
I don't see it. Okay, don't get me wrong. I could totally fall in love with Paul Rudd. But in the movie, I didn't fall in love with his character. Do you know what I mean? No, the type of romance that they're going for, that did not happen for me.
Really?
It didn't. I don't feel it.
I guess it's because
I love him as an actor, not the character.
I guess it's because in my head, when I think about the kind of relationship I'd want to have, it's that ball busting kind of relationship. And that's what they have. And I think that's why I like it. And I am attracted to that kind of, give and take that they have. like there's a song, it's by Huey Lewis, and it says like they're stuck with you, I think is what it's called. And in the song they're basically like, well, I guess you're the person I should be stuck with. Like if I have to marry somebody, I guess it should be you. And it's a really cute song, but
all I can think of is stuck on you, stuck on you.
I don't know if I know that.
It's a more modern song. I only know that bit. I got the tune in my head.
I think I know what song you're talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think I like that banter, and they kind of have it in the other two movies as well. It's just not obviously because it's old century humor. It's not the same as 90s humor, so maybe it's not as apparent. But they do kind of have that back and forth and give and take. So that's what I like.
Okay.
I like a little drama.
I don't feel like any of the Emmas have real drama though. They're very laid back stories. I feel that poor Harriet / Ty's character easily falls in love, in and out of love.
Yes.
Like,
yes.
I mean, good for her that she gets over it so quickly. But in that sense, she's a young girl.
Yes.
You know, I can see her like having that young girl mentality that could be easily swayed by Emma.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, it just doesn't make any sense. Like, you like who you like. And if you're getting over that crush so easily, then you didn't really like him in the first place.
True. Another thing is that they're more or less in a small village.
Yeah.
You know, so whereas the 2020 version and the Clueless version, Ty barely moved in.
Yeah.
You know, but in this 96 version, it feels like she's been there at least a few years. Like I didn't get the perception that she was new. So in that instance, all these men are new. So I can see you falling in love.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in the other versions, I could see you falling in love so quickly.
Yeah.
You know, but in this 96 version, I feel like she's already been there for several years. So you should have already been exposed to all of these men and at least gone through these crushes.
Yeah.
Not all in 1 year, basically.
Right. It was a lot. And like, hell, there's a guy that I've liked, and I've liked him for 3 years. Same guy. Liked him this whole time.
Yeah, no, I haven't liked anybody in like over a decade.
Oh, wow. I don't know. I feel like I kind of have to like somebody all the time.
Why?
I don't know. My brain, that's how it works.
It's a waste of time.
I mean, I'm not actively sitting there drooling over the person. It helps that I don't see them all the time. I thought I may have been over it, and then I saw them after not seeing them for a really long time.
And it came back.
And I was like, oh, okay, nope, I'm still into it.
Ooh.
Still into it. Maybe they're listening. I don't know. Hey.
Dun, dun, dun.
Check me out. Let's see here. Oh, so one thing I loved is her praying.
Oh, I love that.
That Mr. Knightley, if he's not into her, that he just doesn't get with anybody.
Yeah.
She's like, I rather him be single
forever
to be with anybody else.
And so like, I can see that, you know, be like, if we can't be together romantically, you're still my best friend.
Yeah.
And I don't want you to be with anybody because then they'll take you away from me. And I rather keep what we have than lose it completely.
Yeah.
So
like when she falls hard because she was like, ain't nobody gonna have him if I ain't got him.
It makes me want to read the book
You've never read it?
No, I have like a complete Jane Austen set, but I've never read Emma. No, I've read Pride and Prejudice, but it kind of makes me want to read Emma just so that I can see what, obviously you can tell certain parts are definitely in the book, but that little prayer, is that in the book or is that just something they added?
I'm going to need you to bring those over here so I can read them.
Okay. You really want to read that? Pride and Prejudice are so hard to read.
I heard,
I hate this is considered like the romance phase. Yeah. I hate it so fucking much.
I heard one of her books is like really good.
Which one?
Something.
Persuasion?
Yeah, maybe it was Persuasion. I heard it was good.
Like whatever. I also have the complete works of William Shakespeare.
So
I have all that crappy classic shit. And I don't like it one bit.
I have Dante's Inferno.
So do I. And I have Paradise Lost. Piece of crap. Like I hate those poetic sonnets, odes. I fucking hate them. But then people keep quoting them and talking about them. So I have to read it so I can look at the original source. And then I read it and I'm like, I don't even know what the fuck I read half the time, you know? And then I'm like, that line was the best part of this whole damn story.
This is April Unplugged.
It's just like, I read this stuff and then I'm just like, okay. Like, I'll never forget when I read Ernest Hemingway's The Old Man and the Sea. Okay. Have you read that?
No.
It is the most boring ass shit ever. So is
A Tale of Two Cities, because I read that for school and I stopped reading it.
Yeah. I read that too. Okay. Oh my gosh.
How I passed, I have no idea.
Moby Dick.
Ugh.
I fucking hate it so much.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get it. In order to appreciate it, I feel like I would have to have been born in that era to read this dry ass shit.
Great Gatsby. Not a fan.
I have not read that. I remember War of the Worlds. I have H.G. Wells' complete, I have so much shit, but I have H.G. Wells' complete book thing too. And I read War of the Worlds. It took me weeks to read that fucking shit because it was so damn slow. I would just read a few pages. I can't read anymore. I just can't. This is why I'm not an English major, because I can't read this shit, especially not read it again.
Yeah.
And comprehend it and explain it. Write a fucking essay about this. What do you want me to write? It sucks.
So I like when they meet up on the path home. And they're beating around the bush. And they're both not really saying what they're trying to say. He's trying
to lay his heart out. Yeah. And she thinks, oh shit, he's going to confess his love for my best friend.
Yeah.
And he's like, I don't want to hear it. I don't want our relationship to change.
But I feel like the confrontation in the 2020 version was done way better than in this one.
Yes.
It was more suspenseful. Mm-hmm. It was more passionate.
Yeah, because he didn't walk away. It kind of all happened right there.
But in this one, it was kind of like,
yeah.
But I do love when he's having his little speech.
Oh.
And she's just like, wait, what? Oh.
Yeah.
Me. Mm-hmm. Oh, you like me? And I think for 1 second, she's like, but wait, what about my friend? And then she's like, I don't care. I do not care.
Yep.
And then we thought for a second there that they were going to leave Harriet hanging, but they didn't.
I know. It felt like the movie was ending. It was like, they're leaving open-ended stories, and then they come back around. I do like better the conclusion of Harriet's story.
Yeah.
In the 2020 version, she goes over to Martin with her little basket of goose to apologize. Sorry, I butt in. Maybe you should give it another go. Yeah. So I liked that conclusion better.
Yeah, I did. I enjoyed that one a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So April.
Yes.
The time has come.
Okay.
What is your rating for this movie or your thoughts? Final thoughts.
Okay. Okay, so here's the thing. It's so hard now that we've seen two other versions of this to give it a rating on its own.
Yeah.
Because I feel that in comparison to the other two movies, especially since the period pieces are kind of harder to follow, harder to understand, it helped to see the 2020 version.
Yes.
To follow this story better,
Right.
to remember the names, to remember the characters. So in that instance, it really helped having seen the previous version. I find I can't help comparing both of them.
Yeah. Because they're almost exactly the same.
Yeah. And I feel like, honestly, I would probably rank it just a point less than the 2020 version. Just 1 point less. Because I loved the 2020 version, but it was not extremely better than the 96 version. And I loved so many parts of the 96 version.
Yeah.
But it does, even though it's a period piece, it does feel dated.
Yes.
Like I liked the comedy so much more in the 2020 version. It was funny.
Yeah.
You know? So I don't know what I ranked, you know?
Yeah, me neither. I should have looked at that.
Maybe I gave it a 7. So I would give this, if I gave the other one a 7, maybe I would give this a 6.5 because I feel a 6 as a movie is too low.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't feel this movie is a 7. So I would probably give this one a 6.5.
Okay.
And maybe higher, 6.8. Because
Now we're just making up numbers.
no, well, like, okay, so I always look at it as 5 is in the middle.
Okay.
So this is better than the middle. But a 7 is better. It's too much, you know. But a 6 is kind of low. Like it's better than the middle. So like a 6.7. A 6.7 is my final answer for this movie.
All right. I'm going to say a 6.32.
Okay.
579 out of a string of apples.
I guess mine would be out of the other Emmas.
I did like this one. There was stuff that I liked. There was stuff I didn't like.
We should just re-edit these films together
Right?
into our perfect Emma.
I don't know which one I like. Obviously, I love Clueless more. If I'm ranking it on all three.
Yeah. Again, I don't feel Clueless is in this equation. For me, Clueless is separate.
Yeah. And again, I am shocked I'm going to say this, but I like Gwyneth Paltrow's Emma more than I liked the other one. I was tearing this movie apart before we watched it. Like all day at work, I was like, I have to go home and watch this stupid Gwyneth Paltrow movie. It's going to be boring. It's going to be awful because she's boring and lame. And except for the fact that we just watched the other one and it's not a story that I'm like so involved in. I was not looking forward to it. And it's being exactly the same as the one we just watched.
That's why next year we should watch that Indian version.
That would be fun. I think we should do that.
And then after that, we would have to do another period version.
But all right.
Okay.
If that's all we got.
Yeah, it is.
April, where can they find us?
Two Chicks Talking Flicks over on Instagram.
You can find us at twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com.
Two Chicks Talking Flicks on Facebook.
And you can find us at Two Chicks Talkin Flicks on TikTok.
Woo.
And also make sure that you like and you subscribe and you rate us, give us 5 stars and like write a little thing. Tell
And share.
Yeah,
share with your friends, your
Sharing
peers, your
is caring.
family.
Let people know that you like us and that we're not wasting our time. Because I don't want to waste my time. But other than that, I guess that's all we got.
Toodles.
Welcome to season 3.
Yay.
Woo!
We have another exciting November coming up. So look forward to that.
We have an exciting August coming up. Thanks. And December.
Yes.
2 big anniversaries. So be prepared.
Yeah, we've got some stuff coming.
Season 3 is going to be lit. I should never say that. All right, bye.
Toodles.
This episode was produced by Two Chicks Talkin Flicks. Music was produced by Michael Girvani. If you like this episode, please like and subscribe. If you'd like to be a part of the show, have a movie suggestion, or just want to give us some love, you can email us at twochickstalkinflicks@gmail.com. Thanks, guys. Toodles.